Hey guys, Trey Hall here, and I have an interesting story for you guys, so let's get right into that. President Donald Trump says he may grant a pardon to former Sheriff Joe Arpaio following his recent conviction in federal court, prompting outrage among critics who say the move would amount to an endorsement of racism. Those critics are right, that would be an endorsement of racism. The fact that Donald Trump is even considering this is outrageous to say the least. How would this move help racial tensions in this country and racial inequality? It doesn't, but that's not what he's concerned about. And the fact that he has to denounce hate groups that support him is also utterly ridiculous. And he wonders why he has to denounce them. Is because he does stuff like this. This is horrible. Why? It's ridiculous that this man was elected to be a sheriff in the first place and then was convicted finally for some of the horrible stuff that he's done in regards to immigrants and other races. But we will read on. Trump told Fox News during an interview Sunday that he was seriously considering issuing a pardon within the next few days. That was welcome news for the former Phoenix area sheriff who lost a re-election bid in November and who was convicted of misdemeanor contempt of court on July 31st. He should have been convicted of a few other things as well. But Trump is seriously considering issuing a pardon for this horrible man. That is troubling. But it angered immigrant rights activists and others who say it amounts to support for racism on the same day that Trump disavowed white nationalists whose rally in Charlottesville, Virginia turned violent this weekend, leaving one woman dead. A federal judge ruled in 2013 that Arpaio's officers racially profiled Latinos. Let me say that again. Racially profiled Latinos. But the sheriff refused to stop his immigration patrols, eventually leading to the criminal contempt of court case that he's currently embroiled in. It also contributed to his failed re-election bid last year. Well, I'm glad he lost, but he shouldn't have been sheriff in the first place. Arpaio said Monday that he learned of the president's comments in the morning and was glad he stood by him. I didn't ask for it, but if he's going to offer, I will accept because I'm not guilty. So appreciate his interest in my matter here in Phoenix, Arpaio said. God, what a horrible human to result to racially profiling people that didn't look like him. What a racist person. Attorneys for the ex-sheriff filed 2 motions late Monday afternoon in United States District Court in Phoenix for a judgment of acquittal and to vacate the verdict for a new trial. The motions are not appeals. We're filing these motions because there was absolutely no evidence in support of the judge's verdict. The verdict was contrary to the evidence provided in court, and the verdict is a gross miscarriage of justice, said Mark Goldman, a lawyer for Arpaio. I don't know how you can be a lawyer for this guy. Trump on Sunday told Fox that Arpaio is a great American patriot and said he hates to see what has happened to him. I don't. According to the news report, He cited his long service in law enforcement and said many Arizona citizens respected his approach to crime. There were also a lot of people that thought he was racist and still think he was racist, because he is racist. The two have been allies for the past couple of years. Arpaio campaigned for Trump at rallies in Iowa. Never come back to Iowa. Do not come into my state. There's no room in the great state of Iowa for people who are racist and intolerant of other races and people who don't look like them. He was also in Nevada and Arizona, which is where he's from. And he gave a speech at the Republican National Convention in which he said Trump would prevent immigrants from coming into the country illegally. You know what's a bigger issue than illegal immigration? Income inequality. The fact that millions of people don't have health care. Climate change. All of those are far greater than illegal immigration. There are actually more Mexicans leaving the country than coming into it. But they don't get to see. They don't see that, because all they see is someone who doesn't look like them coming into what they think is their country, and they think it belongs to them because, for whatever reason, and they think they have some sort of birthright to everything in the country just because they are white. Or, because they're white. Trump has also invoked the former sheriff in his calls for tougher immigration enforcement and has advocated for tactics that made Arpaio a national figure. I've been with him from day one, Arpaio said. On Monday, the president condemned hate groups and said racism is evil in a statement that was much more forceful than the one he'd made earlier after the weekend clashes in Virginia that left one woman dead after a car plowed into a group of counter-protesters who opposed a rally by white nationalists. Absolutely good for those counter-protests who were against white nationalism, and that whole situation is just despicable. It's the hate that comes from people who think like that is ridiculous. We don't have a place for it in this country. I'm not afraid to say we don't have a place for it, and it has to stop now. The white nationalists were protesting a plan to remove a statue of Confederate General Robert E. Lee from a Charlottesville park. Those who spread violence in the name of bigotry strike at the very core of America, he said. Cecilia Wang, Deputy Legal Director for the ACLU, criticized the idea that Trump could pardon Arpaio, saying the former sheriff had violated court orders that prohibited illegal detention of Latinos. Make no mistake, this would be an official presidential endorsement of racism, Wang said. She is absolutely right. Thomas A. Saines, I don't know if I pronounced that right, President and General Counsel of MALDEF, or the Mexican American Legal Defense and Education Fund, said in statement that Trump's comments to Fox were hypocritical and demonstrate how inextricably conflicted he is about condemning racism and the targeting of racial minorities. That the White House chose to praise such unconstitutional discriminatory behavior in defiance of a federal judge on the same day that it refused to condemn the actions of white supremacists in Charlottesville compounds the damage of Trump's appalling moral relativism, Saines said In politics, there is hypocrisy on many sides, but the White House's praise of Arpaio tries to extricate itself from equivocal statements about the clear domestic hate-based terrorism in Charlottesville will forever stand out as record-breaking political disingenuousness. That's very true. So that's a little bit where we are right now. It's not looking good for racial minorities in the country, I'm afraid to say. But it will get better in time. Debate channel. You can follow me on Twitter also if you like what I have to say. I am at Trajan Hall, TrajenHall. Stay tuned for more episodes later this week. See you guys.